All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the Hearthmind Challenge Series. This week we're bringing you number 28, and today in our finals we have Noblord and the Vance. Both of them, it's their first time in our finals, though I know Noblord, he's been in our tournaments like a number of times, and he's done fairly well, making it through to like the top 16, the quarterfinals on a couple occasions, so it will be nice to see him in the finals tonight. And I am joined today, as usual, by Bullock, Askiar Watson, and Alex DeBoss of Team Hearthmind. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing
Good.
great.
Excellent, excellent. So it should be an exciting series, I think. I mean, we've watched some of the earlier games that these guys have been playing, and what have you thought of what you've seen so far of their decks?
I've only seen Noblord play in the semis against Team Harshmind's Flying Whale, and his decks looked very interesting, although it was a very close series. So I don't know if he ran through the competition before that, or and that was that one hiccup, or whether he had a hard time and just barely made it to the finals.
Yeah, so, I mean, are they getting ready to start here? It looks like they are.
Yep.
The Vans, unfortunately, I'm not familiar with him, and I have not seen him in Hearthmine before, so we
Yes,
can see anything.
yeah, so it should be interesting to see what we get out of him this week. Looks like the Vance is bringing Shaman to Noblord's Druid here.
And Noblord is playing a very interesting card, Gadgetzan Auctioneer.
I saw him play this deck before. It's basically what Miracle Druid used to be, or excuse me, what Miracle Rogue used to be, but in a Druid flavor. And he has Moonfire and all kinds of cheap spells here. It This deck did win him a game against Flying Whale, though.
Yeah,
And I mean, Miracle Druid, I think, was part of the reason they actually nerfed Auctioneer with the spare parts, because I mean, it was almost a thing beforehand. And I mean, with spare parts, it really would have put it over the top with the Auctioneer at 5 mana.
well, two Auctioneers is better than one.
That's questionable, I mean, in terms
Yeah,
of a starting hand.
yeah, and I assume he plays Wild Growth, so he's probably not happy that he didn't draw it.
Yeah, the hero power on turn 2 for a druid is
Is
not generally a good thing.
the hero power for turn 2 for Druid is Wild Growth.
Yeah. So we're going to see a return of a hero power here from the Vance, and he gets the 1/1 totem.
He gets his hero power now, he gets to play that.
Now we see the wild growth, so Noblord is starting to ramp up. And on Vance's side, we see that he's already pulled Kel'Thuzad, and he has a lot of Death Rattle minions, which means it's going to be a similar deck than what Flying Whale went through the tournament with, and it's very powerful. We'll probably see Ancestral Spirits and Reincarnation and things like that.
Yeah,
Very powerful deck.
And if you look at his hand, he does have a good amount of removal there as well, which is gonna come in like when these auctioneers and Drake, if that comes out, in terms of giving him a way to deal with this stuff that the druid's ramping into.
ooh, this is looking like a good turn for Gadgetzan Auctioneer next turn, with the Innervate added to the hand.
And he's got two Savage Wars already. I wonder if he's running double combo.
I assume he is.
He
Yeah,
has to have at least one Force of Nature in there.
yeah,
Yeah,
I would assume it's a safe bet. He's probably running two, especially with the auctioneers, because I mean that gives him the ability to fish for that combo even more so. And I'm thinking next turn we're probably going to see the auctioneer into an innervate maybe.
into Wrath.
Yeah, into Wrath if he doesn't draw into something better to play with it.
Crackle guaranteed clear on the Azure Drake. Rolling low and you're not even mad.
He'll have to get something going fast. Noblord is that. I mean, because starting turn 8, you're going to see Kel'Thuzad shenanigans. And with this deck that he's running, he can do crazy things.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about the Wrath right there. I almost think Power of the Wild might have been a better play in terms of building up more presence on his board.
I think he was waiting for the card draw to get Violet Teacher, which actually did happen, so he can wait till he has Violet Teacher to go off with.
Yeah, and just go for the token aspect
The
of
Wrath
it.
draws one more card than the Power of the Wild does, so he's
That's
just
what I was gonna say. He used it more as a cycle, on top of the cycle that he got from Gadgetzan.
plus now Rockbiter weapon on the 1/1 doesn't kill the Auctioneer. That's just a minor thing though.
So what do you think we're going to see right here? Is he going to deal with the Auctioneer or just drop the Shredder?
Ooh, that's interesting. Oh, he's going to coin the Earth Shock. That's
He's just going to silence it, but not kill it.
makes sense. Hex would have been wasteful for the mana.
So
And he's got perfectly fine
Looks
next
like a
turn,
pilot
even though
team.
he's overloaded. He has 2 very good 5 mana drops.
yeah,
Probably Violet Teacher, Claw, Power of the Wild.
yeah, that's gotta feel bad for him though, you know, 'cause especially with the other Auctioneer in his hand and not being able to really
Yeah.
get his full value out of the.
But that is quite the board, and no Lightning Storm probably in the deck for Vance. It's not a common card that you would run when minions below 3 mana aren't allowed.
That is a good point. I didn't think of it on that level. So
I know that Flying Will was not running one in his deck.
Yep, I wasn't running one in my version that I tested with him either.
and he does have the mana here coming into the next turn to do both Savage Roars right there, which is going to be a lot of damage if this board isn't dealt with.
I can't count that fast, but that looks like lethal to me.
It'd be 8 plus 6 plus 6 plus 9. It would be 29 damage plus 4 from the hero. So yeah, that would definitely be lethal if this isn't cleared out.
Each Savage Roar represents 10 damage on its own.
So
I can't imagine the Vance not clearing at least some of the board, though. He has to expect at least one Savage War by
Yeah.
now, with the amount of cycling that Noblord has done.
Yeah,
I was gonna say he was hovering over that Sky Golem there, so I mean if he drops that, he could be in trouble. Okay, so we're gonna see a Hex on the Teacher here.
I think that was a misplay. I think he should have Rockbitered first to clear one of the 2/2s. And then Hexed. Maybe he has different play in mind.
Well, he wanted to save the Rockbiter for something, so we might find out what it was. And here's more cycling.
Nothing too exciting.
Yeah, so he's gonna hold on to the Savage Roars for the moment, it looks like.
He might burn an Innervate just for the card draw. And potentially squeezing out a hero power, I guess.
And that is what we're gonna see, I think.
Yeah, and then probably hero power to the face.
Well, if he drew into a Force of Nature, that would almost guarantee him a win.
Yeah, I think he's thinking he wanted to innervate for the cycle just as another way to draw Force of Nature. Crackle's drawn, that's a good answer to Auctioneer.
Yeah, though he doesn't have the Spell Power Totem at this point,
Yeah.
so it's not a guaranteed kill.
But the likelihood is in his favor.
What other options does he really have here? I'm looking at what's in his hand. I mean, he has Belcher, but
This is a very good turn to drop Belcher, because if for some reason that Belcher is not cleared, he drops Kel'Thuzad next turn.
I think we're gonna see Crackle and Belcher. And he's just gonna pray that Crackle isn't a terrible card when he plays it.
yeah, it looks like he's counting up, trying to figure what type of damage he may have to deal with on this turn coming in before he made the decision.
Well, 75% chance.
Nice!
Got it.
Yeah, he definitely did it with room to spare there, too.
Oh, this silence is gonna hurt.
Yeah. Then probably a swipe hero power. after killing the Haunted Creeper.
Though, if he decides to silence the Belcher and not kill it, then the Kel'Thuzad is going to be huge next turn.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see Keeper to silence the Belcher, kill the Haunted Creeper, swipe the board, hero power the remainder of the Belcher, and clear the Healing Totem.
That sounds like a very safe play, and I don't see why he would not do it. I mean, he's got the burst in his hand. All he needs to do is get a board.
Mhm. And nothing on his board would actually die going for that play.
It looks like what he's leaning towards as well, because you see he keeps going back to the Keeper of the Grove right there.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
alternative plays, don't really see him.
yeah, I don't really see anything that would be that beneficial. Oh,
Ooh, interesting. What is for charge? Oh, just to put on a load of damage.
I like that.
yeah,
Interestingly enough, Kel'Thuzad can't come out because of the overload.
and also too, he wouldn't have anything to run the Belcher into.
Yeah,
So,
looks pretty good then.
yeah, this is definitely a difficult spot for the Vance right now.
At this point, you'll have to use the reincarnate at the on the Belcher, just to stay alive, just to have a chance of staying alive.
Yeah, so clear a 2/2 and then reincarnate your Belcher.
Yeah, that really is the best option. I mean, he could also,
Rockbiter your Creeper.
yeah, Rockbiter the Creeper to clear out the 4/4 as well. But I mean, I'm sure he'd rather hold on to that Rockbiter with Alakir in hand if he has any ability to. But at this point, it's just
Yeah.
about staying alive for him, I think.
He's going to hold on to the Rockbiter.
Yeah, it's
I don't think that's an option at this point.
yeah, exactly. He's got to worry about not dying.
He has to play this Rockbiter weapon as a... What is it? How much mana? Wasting a lot of mana on the Rockbiter. There's a 3-mana Rockbiter weapon there. Not very efficient, but he had to do it.
And that is about the worst totem he could have gotten there, too, the
Yeah, just
1/1.
dies.
Yeah, that swipe is coming.
Not lethal by any chance. Looks like
There's
lethal.
the combo.
Does look like lethal.
Yeah, because the combo by itself is 14, and the
You
two,
had those two, yeah.
yeah, they'll clear the Belcher out. Oh,
Oh no, he's short by 1 damage, but he has a swipe in hand, so he's not really afraid of being short by 1 damage.
I think he actually missed lethal there, because if he would have cleared the second half of the Belcher with his hero as opposed to the Treant token, he could have put the
Did he
extra
have a
damage.
attack minion on board?
No, it wasn't that. It was that he ran his 2 attack. Or he would have actually had to use both. That is
Yeah,
correct.
he would have to use 2 because they had 4 attack.
Yeah.
Yep. So no matter what, he would have been wasting.
Yeah, the damage was getting lost somewhere in that
But
shuffle.
there's no hopes here, unless Azure Drake top decks some kind of heal. There's nothing. There's no lethal, there's no staying alive, because Swipe is in the hand of Noblord.
Yeah,
And I
so-
doubt there is a heal in that deck.
That is definitely the end of the game.
oh, with the BM too.
Yeah. Well, you might as well clear stuff out.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, like at that point, if I lost, I lost, and I'm just ready to get it on to the next game. You know.
Yeah, he doesn't know Swipe is in the hand. He's playing around some kind of charge minion. Like Druid of the Claw. Or Hero Power, obviously.
Yeah. So that will wrap up game 1 right there for us, with the first game going to Noblord.
So do you guys think that Vance will change decks or not?
I have to say he will. Because his deck looks quite slow.
Yeah, and it like I really don't feel like that deck has a good Druid matchup either. It's like it seems like it'd be more equipped to deal with a more aggressive deck as opposed to something that's ramping up into the larger threats. So, you said you didn't happen to see any of the other decks Vance was playing earlier tonight, correct?
No, unfortunately, I did not.
So, I'll be curious to see what he brings out here. If they're ready to go, you can tell them to go ahead and start it up.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Miracle Rogue come out. Just because it's just about as fast as the Miracle Druid is.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen anybody playing Miracle Rogue tonight. That would be interesting.
Yeah, Whale was playing it, and I believe Noblord was running a Miracle Rogue.
Okay.
But don't quote me on that. That's just my memory.
So he may have that
Well,
to...
I know for a fact, Ran. I did see him play one game.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so it looks like they're getting ready to get into it right here.
The Vance asked me in between clarifying that is he able to play the same deck. So I know he wants to know if that's an option. I'm not sure if he's going to actually go for it, but we're about to find out.
It looks like he did keep the Shaman.
It's like he kept it, yeah.
So I guess he's confident in his Shaman being able to beat this Druid.
Shaman has been really strong. If you watched Whale's stream during the tournament, then you definitely saw how strong that deck was. All the cards synergize really well, and the Hexes and Earth Shocks are really good removal. It has a chance against anything, I think.
Yeah, I did manage to catch the one match where he was playing where he was almost dead. He was down to like a few points of health and just flooded the board with Kel'Thuzad reincarnating Sludge Belchers, and then all of a sudden it was just this massive wall of taunt.
Yep. That was exciting. Ooh, Gnomish Inventor. So is this some kind of combo deck, or is that just a Tecton card draw?
I think it's probably just in there for the card draw more than anything.
I would assume so, and you do need some 4-drops because if you draw bad, that is the first turn that actually get to play something.
Just as you expect to play against Druids, and Druids are going to put on a lot of pressure early through ramping or Power of the Wild, things like that. So having a 4-drop that has bad stats opposed to a 4-drop like a Shredder or a Yeti doesn't actually make that much sense to me because I think you fall behind using it.
I agree. I do like the Shredder better because it really is kind of like card draw. It gives you another minion once it dies.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this hand right here that Noblord is sitting on? That is an amazing auctioneer turn once he gets
turn
there.
5 is going to be sick. Or turn
Probably
6
turn
decides to wait.
6 to save the coin to get one of the claws out guaranteed.
Turn 7 if he wants to play everything.
Yeah. It'll probably depend how the board develops leading up to that and if he's able to be that greedy.
Top deck and Innervate. And just keep going.
You say Miracle Rogue what at that point, you know?
Miracle Rogue can do so much with preps, giving them free mana, drawing cards. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, though Innervate is kind of similar to the way it would interact in terms of compared to preparation. Like, granted, it's giving you one less, but it's a similar situation. It goes with the auctioneer in there.
Not surprised to see Wrath dropped for a cycle there.
Well, he's going to cycle through half his deck next turn, so I think he can afford it. And he doesn't want that taunt sitting there.
So it looks like we're probably going to see an Azure Drake here, I think. And, like, that's... The board is starting to build up on the Vance's side to where it's not going to be something that he's going to be able to just ignore if he's got spell damage 4/4 out there, knowing how much burst.
Yeah, that's a
And
lot.
that's 2 spell damage with the totem.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Ooh,
Innervate.
there's Innervate.
This is going to be an exciting turn.
Oh, and he draws a force. Wow.
We clear the board. Through the use of claws and innervates.
what he gets from the coin.
More cycle from the Ancient of Lore. Quite a bit of card draw.
Yeah, that
That's
was.
an excellent turn 7, so.
Yeah, if this auctioneer lives, which I don't foresee it doing, but
Yeah, it's not gonna live.
if it lived, he could have done the same thing all over again the next turn. And he does have the teacher in hand now as well, even if the auctioneer gets killed off right here, that he'll still be able to generate a board full of tokens.
I expect to see Azure Drake lightning bolt the auctioneer.
Yeah, that would be the obvious play there, I think.
Yeah.
You have to get rid of the auctioneer. That card is too dangerous to leave on board.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
especially, like, I mean, you just saw it firsthand the turn before, and I mean,
Oh, and another one.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled it out right now. Because the Ancient really doesn't do much as a 5/5 on the board.
Ooh, actually,
Oh, never mind. He's got Innervate, so we might see Azure Drake Innervate swipe.
exactly. It does only clear 2 things and leave 1 weakened.
yeah, but I mean, in terms of a 2/4, I don't think he's really that scared of it, because
Yeah.
his next plays would be probably either the Violent Teacher or the Ancient of War, and the 2/2 by itself wouldn't be able to challenge either of them without throwing a Rockbiter or some other card into the mix.
And he gets rid of 2 spell damage.
Yeah, that's true.
We know how bursty, everybody by now knows how bursty that Shaman is. So leaving 2 spell damage out there is pretty dangerous.
Yeah, and this Druid actually, he generates a bit of burst too. Between all the tokens, the Savage Roar, and plus he has the small spells too there, like with the Moonfire, the Swipe. Like it's got some punch straight out of the hand, even if he doesn't have a board built up, I think. So what do you do here if you're the Vance?
You need to get some sort of board presence and try to stabilize. So Cairn is one way to do it because it's a very sticky minion that challenges the Drake very well. But he might want to try to get rid of that Azure Drake. So we'll see what option he goes with.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see Cairn in this deck. I mean, I guess he's using it for like the reincarnate synergy.
It synergizes well with all the other cards in the deck. It's really hard to leave it out. Looks like he's going for Rockbiter plus Belcher. No, Rockbiter plus Shredder, so getting rid of a mana to go for Shredder instead of Belcher. It's interesting.
So it looks like
Well, he doesn't necessarily need the taunt right away. And
Yeah.
he plays a sticky minion that he knows can challenge a board.
and he probably also is looking at too that he needs to start pushing for damage, because you're coming into the combo turns now for the Druid, where at any given moment the Force Savage Roar, which he saw last game, so he knows he's running, could come out, and that's just
11 cards left in the deck, and the Druid doesn't actually have Savage Roar yet.
no-
Well, but he already has Force of Nature, so it's just a matter of time when he completes the combo. And
No.
with Cairn, I'd like to touch on that. Notice that we're only using minions 4 to 8 mana, which is all the mid-range creatures, and Cairn is one of the better ones in that range. Very sticky, very difficult to deal with, and something that's powered or that stays on the board.
Yeah.
I've seen it in quite a few decks today. I'm not surprised.
Hmm. Ooh, Captain
Millhouse?
Barrett. Definitely not what he wanted
yeah,
there.
that is a
That's not Millhouse.
Yeah.
Black Knight getting great value right now.
And I
might
think
keep it for Alakir.
ooh, he could go for a big teacher turn, but it's not really that good. I think Black Knight's coming down.
Thing open.
Yeah, I think we're going to see the teacher here. Because with teacher, he could force of or power of the wild rather, and claw. But his board probably still would have got lost aside from the Black Knight at that point. So I think this is the angle to take, to just kind of chip away at what's there and develop his own side.
Has anyone successfully summoned Thaddeus in this tournament?
Not that I have seen. Thaddeus was kind of, he was like a little crazed for a while. Like, you saw a lot of decks that were attempting to get him out. He seems to have fallen out of favor a little bit lately, I think. Like, even like you would see it in a lot of the Death Rattle priests and stuff previously. And I really haven't seen much of him lately.
I remember it working fairly well in a Demon Warlock deck.
Yeah.
But even that, it just wasn't as strong as Zoo and Handlock, so people just stopped playing it.
It was basically a strictly worse handlock. So people didn't play it.
Yeah, you know, they tried it out for the gimmick, the novelty of it, but, you know, once you realize it's not as good as...
Ooh,
You're
bad roll on the Crackle.
Yeah, that's...
Has to trade minions in now.
Yeah, I love the idea. I love the idea of card synergy made like that,
Yeah.
but it's so easy to counter and costs so much. The chance of actually pulling it off are too slim. It's the same thing that we're seeing right now with Myrmidon's Head. Nobody plays that card.
I don't think anyone even tried that card. Maybe just in my community.
I saw it once or twice, like the first week or so of GBG.
Yeah.
People
Pretty terrible.
people trying to like, I remember this specific match, like a guy, he played out Mimron's Head, and he had like one other mech on the board, and then the following turn he played another mech, you know, and I was just killing the mech that he needed over and over and over, and you know, it took me a few turns before I finally eliminated the head, but
But you don't actually have to eliminate the head.
yeah, as long as you keep the required mechs off the board, it's not really doing all that much. But you know, it is like, I just felt like I'm sitting here thinking, like, this guy is trying so hard to get this combo off.
Should I let him?
Yeah, it was almost like, you know, he gave it a good try. We should let him have it. But yeah, no.
7 cards left in the deck, and the Druid has still not gotten a single...
I think Lotheb was actually a pretty huge play right there.
Yeah, he has to expect combos in the hand, and
Yeah.
it's like he dies to combo, so...
And this will allow him to clear the board quite a bit. That 4/7 is going to do work.
Though you look at the other side, and let's see, what does he have damage-wise out of his hand?
He could charge the Druids of the Claw.
Yeah, he has that. Forces it out of the question this turn, obviously.
I think he needs to play the Azure Drake and a Druid of the Claw, because if he doesn't draw the Savage Roar,
Yeah, he's going to be dead the
He's gonna-
following turn.
he's going to be dead very soon. So I think he has to maximize his chances of, first of all, winning when he draws it, the Savage Roar, and second of all, actually drawing the Savage Roar. So I think he's going to go for Azure Drake. Even though there's a 1 in 3 chance that the next card he draws is a Savage Roar, I think you still have to draw the extra card.
But if the card that Vance draws is Leroy, that's lethal.
That is lethal, yeah. Actually, does he have enough slots for the Leroy? Leroy, double Ancestral Spirit, Reincarnate. Summons 3 after... Yep, he has exactly enough slots. Ooh, so just double Druid of the Claw?
Well, that's aggressive.
That is very aggressive.
He's trying to win with the force of nature alone without using the...
Hmm. He doesn't
Oh,
actually
hey,
charge it.
he charges it. Interesting.
That's
I was
it.
thinking he was gonna charge it to try to win just with Force of Nature and not even need Savage Roar.
What do you do now as the advance? You don't have a very good way to clear that six health time.
Yeah, he's looking very slim on his options. I think, I mean, he could try to roll a totem for a taunt totem, but that's not going to stop the amount of damage that's coming in.
You Doctor Boom, and then you reincarnate one of your bombs, hope you get a good bomb, and then you clear board with what you have left.
That is probably about the only way he could survive this, I think.
I think that's actually what he's gonna do.
That's what he's going for.
Yeah.
The chances of this working are pretty slim.
He needs to hit probably not that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say probably not what he wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
So-
you gotta give the credit there, though, of trying to come with the outside the box type of play.
Oh, that was very creative. I really enjoyed that.
You have to give me the credit. That was my play.
And you know, that shows the caliber of the players, though, you know, that they really are looking at the entire scope of what's on the board and the options available to them to find the really obscure plays that a lot of people may miss.
Yeah.
So,
He turned his reincarnate into basically a dark bomb.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That, though.
do you
damage.
think he's
Like,
still
yeah.
going to stick with his shaman here, or is
I
he?
can't imagine he will.
Yeah, because he already gave it 2 runs at it. I think at this point, if he has something else prepared that he thinks will match up against the druid, now would definitely be the time to do it.
Yeah. I don't think he's gonna try one more game with the shaman. I think he's seen the matchup and probably doesn't like it by now.
Yeah, I mean,
So the second game was a lot closer than the first.
Yeah, I'd say it was.
it was, but I mean,
Mostly just because Savage Roar wasn't drawn throughout the entire game, though.
yeah, and we say it was close too. Like, yeah, if he would have drawn Leroy, he would have won, but at the end of the day, if he didn't draw Leroy, he was just getting blown out by what was on the board, so.
Yeah, a Savage Roar or a Leroy at any point in the game would have been huge for either player.
Alright, so they are getting ready to start right here.
And the chances of drawing one of 2 Savage Roars are greater than drawing 1 Leroy.
Ooh, Warlock. I am excited to see this game because I tried Warlock out, and every time I tested it, I managed to go up against a Hunter,
So,
and there just wasn't enough heal. You tapped and you died, so I never really got a good chance to try it.
so it does look like it's going to be a handlock, judging from that mulligan, so I'm curious to see what he has in place of the giants in here.
Yeah. Tugan and Stout,
Just
I got
yet to
this.
see a Warlock in the tournament tonight.
We haven't. Okay.
So he looks like he's thinking about his mulligan here.
You obviously replaced the Giants with Boulder Fist Ogres.
Of course, that would be the pro play there for sure.
I actually think Boulder Fist Ogre is good in this tournament because the high health and high attack is just enough to kill every mid-range minion there is that's played.
I've seen it played tonight.
Yeah, I think the body is actually just really good in this tournament because it kills everything. The only things it doesn't kill are things higher than its own mana cost. And Oasis Snapjaw, I guess, but no one's gonna play that.
Oasis Snapjaw is a good card. It used to be a staple of mid-range Hunter once
Yeah.
upon a time.
Back when Hunter didn't actually have good cards. Yeah.
So here, I think this probably a Dark Bomb,
Yeah, I think Dark Bomb also.
because you're really not going to have too many other targets for it unless you're using it on the face.
That looks like the ideal target.
Yeah,
If he's hesitating to do it, it's either because he wants to tap a bunch for a big Drake, or maybe he has some spell damage combos. Probably not, though. This looks like a taunt-heavy deck right here with Sunwalker, which would make sense because his opponent's a combo deck, and the Belcher.
yeah, and I see the Harrison in there, so I'm sure he's not happy about that against the Druid right now.
Yeah, that might have been the reason he hesitated to bring this deck out in the last game.
So we're gonna see the Drake played as a 4/6, which, you know,
Ooh, Keeper.
oh, followed by the Moonfire, so it doesn't even get to trade.
That is the clear for it. The weakness of the Drake.
Yeah,
But it was a fairly good call. I mean, a 4/6 for 4 mana, you can't expect to get much better value.
Yeah. Not a very exciting turn 4.
yeah, he gets the Shadow Flame, which, I mean,
It'll
Well-
probably.
yeah, it'll find its value, but it could come down to it being too late.
Yeah. I actually expect to see. Well, I was gonna say Harrison, but now I totally expect the Shredder to come down.
Just
I
to
think
to
the Belcher.
contest the board of the 2/4 healths he has.
I figured it would be better at killing the Drake, but maybe mana efficiency is the way to go. Whoa, swipe on one minion. I guess it makes sense. You can clear the whole thing and cycle, keep his board.
Yeah, and then he gets to push that 6 damage through as well in the process.
And then probably just gonna see a Sunwalker. And then that Sunwalker's probably gonna get silenced and 6 more damage is gonna go through.
It's kind of one of those vicious cycle circumstances at that point.
Yeah.
This is just card draw, though, because the cards that he brought are really good. The Sunwalker here is really good. The Drake here is really good. He just happened to have them countered.
Yeah.
So here,
I expect Keeper.
Yeah.
Silence.
Keeper plus probably Hero Power, unless he wants to play the Claw as well, but I don't see that. He's probably
Claw
going to save that for...
Not-
Yeah, save the Claw for the Violet Teacher or the Auctioneer. So it's probably just the Keeper plus Hero Power face, I think.
Yeah, looks like he's just gonna push a bunch of damage out. No Molten Giants, so there's no fear. He can just deal as much damage as he wants to.
Yeah, and no Jiraxis either, so...
However, he's not trading, and there is a Shadow Flame in his hand.
Yeah, so he may pay for his greed a little bit right here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh, Claw. Oh, he is going to actually trade with it. Very smart play.
He's not worried about his health total. He's sitting at a comfortable 30 right now.
Yeah.
so what do you think the best option here is for the Vance?
I
I think he definitely wants to gain life in one way or another.
Yeah, he needs to contest the board. He needs to build his own board more than contest the opponent's board. If
'Cause
he doesn't build his own board, he doesn't win this game. So Belcher, Harrison, Shredder, Drake, one of those was really the only play.
And you see he did not tap there, so you can tell he
Yeah.
obviously is concerned about
He's
kind
great.
of being in the imminent realm of dying.
It's not a great place to be.
And again, we see the Druid of the Claw in charge form.
Yep.
So
He's
it
gonna
does,
push through some damage.
yeah, it does look like he's at this point pretty much just trying to rush him down.
And like Alex mentioned, there's no fear of Moltens right now, so he can hit as much as he wants.
I think this is going to be Piloted Shredder's Shadow Flame. There's no good way to taunt up. And Piloted Shredder Shadow Flame is the only way that you can end the turn with an opponent's clear board and still having a minion on the board.
Yeah, he at least would be swinging some of the tempo back to himself in the process
And
there.
then it doesn't get cleared too easily. He can heal up. He has lots of ways to heal up, but he needs to focus on board more than health right now.
He has to be worried about combo. We see that it's not in the opponent's deck or in the opponent's hand right now. But we're going to turn 9.
He's going to heal himself next turn, most likely, and Shadow Boxer is actually going to trigger.
Yeah, he's gonna throw out a couple little shadow knives or whatever, but
Oh no, it's just
Oh, it's going to get cleared.
Shadow Boxer was one of those cards when GVG2 that got a lot of hype, but then never really did much.
yeah. Is it YOLO Rag? I actually would very much consider going for Ragnaros here.
Because what else does he have? I mean, he could...
Siphon Soul.
But the problem with Siphon Soul is if you Siphon Soul here, he just plays more minions, and then you're at a spot where you can't clear. If you go Ragnaros, you roll the 50-50. At least then you put yourself in a position where you can end up winning the game even if minions are played. But I guess he's going for the give me something better than a 50-50 to survive route.
Yeah, I think I would have went with the Ragnaros there as well, to be
I think
honest.
of myself also.
Because like you said, here, when it comes his turn, he's still playing reactively. Because he has nothing to contest what his opponent just played.
Ragnaros had a 50-50 to be a minion on the board and an answer to the minion on the board.
Yeah, and
Save
Ragnaros is also something that your opponent really can't ignore for too long, or it's going to end up killing them.
So I think he's probably going to go for Ragnaros here again.
Now he's going to go for the heal. I don't really like the heal bot at this point because it really doesn't help. It's just delaying the inevitable.
Hmm.
Because he could do Healbot Harrison.
Which does contest the Ancient of Lore, but
It makes the
That's-
Ancient of Lore a 2-for-1.
it's so weak because chances are with that many cards in hand that 7 health worth of minions that you're playing on turn 10 is just going to die.
Yeah, I still like
We see
Ragnaros
that it's
here, I
lethal
think.
right now.
Hmm.
With the Druid of the Claw, the Moonfire, I mean,
I see Ragnaros as really the play to go for, to actually win the game instead of just to stay alive. Defender of Argus, okay. It's very, very bad against silence, obviously, but
We've seen both of his 2 keepers already come out, though, so
oh yes, okay.
you don't
Actually,
really...
Spellbreakers were run in Wales Druid. that we-
Really? I was going to say, usually you don't really see the owls or the spellbreakers in Druid.
Yeah, no owls for this challenge, obviously, but
Yeah,
Spellbreakers were run by Whale, and they were good.
yeah, silence, usually, especially with GVG now, you pretty much always have a target for silence. I mean, it may not always be the ideal target, but
With Sylvanas and Drakes around in this challenge, there's always
yeah,
some-
there's a lot of like the larger minions with those abilities that you just need to get rid of. I think he's kind of looks like seeing how to get the most value out of the spells he has in his hand,
Mhm.
deciding if he wants the tokens or if he wants to draw the cards.
He wants the tokens because Vance just can't deal with the board. He's been struggling to deal with it for the past few turns.
Now, right here, though, the Dread Infernal will clear all those tokens.
But the tokens aren't really the problem, honestly. It's the beefier minions, like the teachers, that aren't actually cleared by the Dread Infernal that are still there. And you just spent 6 mana, you only have 4 left, nothing to spend it on. I think this is just a losing position.
Yeah, I don't see any... Because even with the tokens cleared, Savage Roar would give him Savage Roar gives him lethal by itself with the 2 Violet Teachers that would be left over.
So he
And there's a
absolutely
Druid
has
of Claw
to
as well.
Well, basically, he needs to play Dread Infernal and Healbot in the same turn to stay alive,
Yeah,
which is
and
obviously not possible. And even then, would he stay alive? Savage Roar plus Druid of the Claw in charge.
yeah, I don't think it would do it.
It wouldn't even do it. So this is game. Unless he taps.
I was
in-
gonna say he could try to tap
Ooh.
for some kind of
Tap
answer.
for Twisting Nether. Tap for Twisting Nether. Oh, he doesn't play it. Twisting Nether's a good card.
So that looks like it's gonna be it.
Well, Nobbler's going to take it with a very quick series.
Yeah, sweep here,
This is
and
the only final we've ever casted that has actually been a 3-0 sweep, right?
Yes, that's the first one.
oh, and
Impressive.
he did go for the little extra flair there.
Yeah, well, when you have Auctioneer in your deck, you basically BM whenever you can.
Oh wow, double Savage Roar.
Savage Roar, yeah. That was planned.
Vance is probably sitting on the other side just saying, make it stop.
They just, yeah.
This is pretty brutal. This is a lot of damage.
But it was definitely a good showing from Vance. So I mean, a bit one-sided in the finals here, but I mean he made it through the rest of the competition, and that says a lot on its own. And Noblord obviously was well prepared. Looking at his Druid deck, I mean, it faced the Shaman and it faced down the Handlock, so certainly a respectable finish for him. Did we lose Bullock here?
I don't know what happened to him.
I think we did lose him out of the call. Let me see if I can get him back in
Yeah.
here. Oh, you're here.
I'm
Okay.
back.
Yeah, I
Okay.
thought we lost you there.
We were panicking.
Yeah, we lost our fearless leader here.
Yeah.
But even though it was a sweep, I thought it was a good series to watch because it wasn't like all the games were blowouts necessarily. Like there
Yeah.
was definitely points where they could have gone either way depending on what was drawn. I think that whole auctioneer effect just kind of gave the consistency though to the Druid, kind of in the same way that Miracle Rogue, where you draw 90% of your deck every game, you're generally going to do what you're trying to do.
Right.
It was a very well built deck.
Yeah,
And for the reason you said, consistency. He didn't have to rely on great draws. He knew he was going to get to those cards eventually anyways. And we saw one game where he was obviously looking for those Savage Roars
And didn't even get him.
and didn't even draw him and still won.
Yeah, it's simply the fact of outdrawing your opponent, even if it's not the optimal cards, just the fact that you have so many more cards to continuously play and hit the board with and use up all of your mana in the most efficient way, you're just going to eventually outrun them, so to speak, if you're looking at it in terms of a race where you have more resources to work with than they do.
Yeah.
And a big part of this challenge was being able to do efficient things prior to turn 4, before you could drop minions. And Druid has a great way to do it because he can drop a 3/2, which no other class can. He can use Wild Growth and Innervate to actually play minions beforehand or just ramp up. So Druid has ways to efficiently use those early turns, which most other classes struggle with.
The only other classes that could make use of that me and Whale were thinking about was Mage, because they have the portal, and they could play Mere Entity on turn 3 to counter the opponent's turn 4. And then there's Paladin, who has the hero power. There's Hunter, who can start burning you down right away. There's Warlock that can draw cards in that time. Shaman with totems, and Shaman has the feral spirits. There were a lot of classes that could definitely do well, but it looks like Druid was the best.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, obviously every class has their hero power, but Druid has the definitely strongest turns. I've seen shamans try Farsight to use those turns, early turns, effectively.
Farsight was insane.
It's not as good as what the Druid can do.
yeah, I'm surprised we didn't see more Paladin, to be honest, with because Muster for Battle, I think, would have been a good option on turn 3 here.
Yeah,
Because it only really gives the opponent one turn to deal with the tokens. And if they have no real board developed, and then if you have a quartermaster to follow it on turn 5 or immediately thereafter with the coin, like that could very well win you the game right there. But
yeah.
obviously the consistency of the Druid won out in the end, though. So, did you want to go ahead and announce anything for what we have planned next week, Bollock? I know
Sure,
we got
next-
some big things coming up here.
Yes, next week is going to be very interesting because with help from our friends at mpeople.com, we're going to run a $200 prize pool tournament as opposed to our usual $50 one. And we're going to have a very interesting theme as no Death Rattle minions. And that includes any minions that have a Death Rattle effect summoned through any means. So cards like Unstable Portal will be legal, however, if it draws you a minion that has a Death Rattle effect, that minion will not be able to be played. So it's going to be very interesting to see how people go around and build decks without cards that are really staples on the ladder right now.
Yeah, because I mean, you would be hard pressed to find a deck that doesn't have Death Rattle on the ladder in it somewhere to some degree. So,
I myself am very much prepared for this challenge, and I am going to win. So, just gonna leave everyone with that.
Oh, good luck, Alex.
yeah, we look forward to seeing that, Alex. And
Yeah,
so maybe next week it'll just be me and Bollock sitting here speaking without you. And
I sure hope so.
all right, was there anything else you guys wanted to add before we cut out of here? Anything you wanted to plug?
No, I just hope to see you all guys back next week. Well, not you, Alex, because you'll be playing in the finals apparently. But
Yes.
everybody else, I want to see next week.
All right, thanks a lot for coming out, guys, and we'll look forward to seeing you all next week.